Hey everyone, sorry about the super long delay here. And about the audio quality too. I do have a system for YouTube right now. None of you have gotten to hear it yet, but audio quality will be significantly better. But unfortunately, that needs a laptop to sync that with the video and all that other stuff. And right now, the laptop is down. Now I kind of wish we would have kept the old desktop computer. Um, But anyway, since I'm super desperate and I want to make some kind of a video, even if the quality isn't quite as good, I figured I'd make this one because this is something that I can do. So we're going to talk about the evolution of the phone camera. I remember years and years ago, in the days of the Nokia brick phone, they didn't have cameras on them. I remember playing games on it on its beautiful green and black LCD display and its silver keyboard and the kind of blue that it had on the sides. And I don't know, it was a nice phone. The nice thing is there was no phone case for it. You didn't need it. You can drop that thing again and again, just over and over on the concrete, and nothing would happen to that. As a brick, hence the name brick phone. But later on, phones started kind of turning into something else. I remember the original Motorola Razr, and it was kind of cool because it had a, and I wish we still had that. I really miss the Nokia though, more than the Razr. But it had a little display like this on the outside of the phone when you closed it. But then when you opened it, you had that screen, and of course it was super thin, especially that top screen. It was just really, really thin. And the keyboard was pretty thin too, that portion of it, but the phone was slowly changing. It was originally just something to make calls with, and then it started becoming more of a multimedia device. Here's a great example. This is actually mine that I've had for all this time. And this is a great example of that. So there's no front-facing camera on this phone. In order to take a selfie, you have this little mirror, and that mirror would allow you to kind of line up your shot. It's not like exactly what the camera's seeing, but it's close enough for you to actually line up your shot, and it looks pretty okay. Camera's a bit of a disappointment, and that's kind of been the thing for many, many years when these first started. You know what, I should keep this out for the sake of example here. When these first started being a thing. Oh, also, I do have one or two more brick phones, and every one of these works perfectly fine, even though they still have the original batteries. So that's another special thing about the older phones. They weren't designed to break and become obsolete within 7 years and break not only on a hardware level but also on a software level. There were no updates that were sent to kill your phone. There was no glued together construction. And I know a lot of people complain about these backs. You could pop the back off, but when you drop it, it opens up. Well, a lot of them actually don't because they're designed to lock into place. With this one, oh, it's the other way. You need to do that, and it actually locks into place, and it's this pretty rigid plastic. This phone's been dropped many times. This back has never come off, so the whole back popping off thing is really just it depends on the phone you got, but not all of them had that problem. So there we go. The back did not fly off, and you can drop it over and over again, and it would never fly off, and it also wouldn't break like your modern phone would. Actually, let's turn all these on just to prove it, right? So here we go. Here's one from 2004, just to really, really rub it in here. This one's over here. Ah, there we go. I remember this thing. Woo, look at that frame rate. All right. But this one's got some party tricks because it also has a light up keyboard, which you can't really see all that well here, but yeah, this is a multimedia device, and at the time it was bragging about how it had MySpace for those of you that even know what that is, Facebook, and all this other stuff. Not TikTok or any of that other crap, though. That didn't exist at the time, thank goodness. But yeah, these all work. But anyway, we're talking about the cameras. We're not talking about the phones. Let's get back on topic here. The cameras were crap. But you might have noticed with the newer smartphones, this isn't my newest one, this is my previous one, there's different cameras. There is a camera bump, although this case hides it. But there's different cameras, and there's a camera bump. And phone cameras have improved significantly over the years. But as they've gotten better, the cameras themselves have gotten bigger. They stick out from the phone. None of these have a camera bump. In fact, a lot of these, the camera's actually recessed a little bit. It's inside. It's the exact opposite of what we see nowadays. But yeah, the cameras have gotten bigger, and there's also different lenses. So as they've gotten better, they've also gotten bigger and have different lenses. Does that sound kind of familiar? Does that sound kind of like something else? Maybe something a little like this. It's bigger. And it has different lenses. Does that sound kind of familiar? The only problem is it's still significantly smaller than this, and your lenses aren't the same quality, and there's nowhere near as many lens options to choose from. So the common belief here by people that don't really know anything about photography, which is unfortunately a very large amount of the population, is that phone cameras are making real cameras obsolete. And before I get into the actual science behind this, and of course prove it in a video coming up, we're going to put the finest of flagship smartphones to shame. And we're going to do it with a 6-megapixel camera from 20 years ago that's entirely made out of plastic, just to really put phone camera manufacturers in their place. But if smartphone cameras are just so amazing and the best freaking thing there ever was, and are pro grade like this one claims and my new one claims and all the other ones out there claim to be, if they're just so good and so professional, why don't professional photographers use them? Why don't professional videographers use them? If the microphones on them are improving all the time and the audio quality is just so good, how come location sound mixers don't use these? If the flashlight is so good, how come we still have dedicated flashlights? Although most people get cheap ones, but, you know, the point stays the same. If they're just so good, why haven't they replaced all those other things? And that's because they're not as good. So they've improved a lot, and I'm not saying the smartphone camera doesn't have a purpose. It certainly does. The beauty of a smartphone camera is anyone can take a picture and it's guaranteed to at least look okay. Versus back then, like a lot of my pictures were taken on film, and a lot of them look pretty good, better than a lot of people might think. And then a lot of them look like crap. It depends on a lot of things. The camera, the quality of the film, who developed the film, of course, the big thing, the photographer, and my parents are definitely not very good photographers. All sorts of different variables. So now anyone could just take a picture in an instant and it looks okay. That's the beauty with them. And the other thing is you have this with you all the time. There's a lot of pictures I have where the only reason I have them is because I had my smartphone with me. So there's another beautiful thing right there. My dad, who lives in Florida, he can send me a picture, and it's a picture of a restaurant. He can go, oh, this is a restaurant that I went to today. Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, that's the beautiful thing with the smartphone cameras. You can share pictures with people quicker and easier. And anyone can take a picture and it looks decent. The problem is the hardware limitations, the numerous ongoing list of hardware limitations. As the cameras have gotten bigger and also added more lenses, they've gotten better, but they're still significantly smaller than this thing. And this is not my newest, fanciest, most state-of-the-art camera. This is actually my oldest serious camera, even though it's not a professional grade model despite its appearance. Um, this thing still has a image sensor that is significantly larger than what you will ever find in a phone and what you could ever fit inside of a phone. The lenses, although these aren't pro-grade lenses, the optical quality of them far surpasses the glass that you have in a smartphone. And I'm not going to talk about all the details behind the optical stuff in there, but there's a long list of them. Everything about it is just better. Even though it's older, it takes vastly superior quality pictures if you know what you're doing, and that's the problem. That's what gets people. Most people just get a camera, they keep it on auto mode, or they have the kit lens on it, and I kept the kit lens on this for the sake of example here, and they're like, oh, well, it looks just as good as my phone. Well, if you actually know how to use the camera and you put it on manual mode, which is what a camera like this is really designed for, and you get better quality lenses for it, like, well, I'm not going to dig that one up. I got a better quality prime lens in the bag. You can get some really breathtaking pictures that a phone will just never be able to compete with. And that's why I'm going to have that video coming up when the computer's back up and running, uh, showing the best of flagship smartphone camera pictures and just how, as good as they are, how bad they are in comparison to a 6 megapixel camera from 2 decades ago. That's not even a professional high-end camera with fancy ass lenses on it. So that will really that'll stop a lot of the arguments out there for the people that actually watch that video. But there it is. There's a brief-ish video talking about how phones, well, at first didn't have cameras, and later on they started adding them in. They got a little bit better. This one, not this one, the other one, claims to have 1.3 megapixels. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But it's definitely not a lot. I can confirm that. But megapixels, although they're important, it's just one of the many things. Megapixels is really just the resolution. So you want to take really high resolution crap quality pictures or really high resolution great quality pictures. The resolution has nothing to do with the actual quality of the picture itself and how good it's going to look. And I think the problem with smartphone cameras, besides their numerous limitations, even against an older, less capable camera like this one, is it's all automatic most of the time. So everyone's phone takes pretty much the exact same pictures. Nothing looks unique about them. Everyone takes the same boring looking cell phone snapshots. It's just not as good. And although some people would like to think that these will replace real cameras at some point, this thing, which is significantly older, is blowing these out of the water. And newsflash, although smartphone cameras have definitely gotten a lot better over the years, these cameras have also gotten a lot better over the years. Seems like people believe that the smartphone camera is evolving, but these are just, they're not changing at all. That's not true. These have come a long way. So that's what we're going to show in the other video. And we got to show different brands of flagship smartphones, right? We can't just show the one brand. We'll show all of them, and we'll shove we'll shove everyone's face in the dirt. We're gonna put them in their place with that one. But enough rambling. This is the kind of boring video, just showing people different phone cameras and kind of how the appearance has changed. And in the other one, we'll show actual sample photos, and maybe for giggles I'll include one of these in there. Maybe, I don't know. That's not really the point of the video, but maybe just for fun we'll put one of these in there, but I'll try to limit that if I do. So that's all for this one. I'll see you next time when we make the finest of smartphones look like, well, you know, what they are. Even with all the software helping them out, helping to compromise for the hardware limitations, the problem is software will never be able to fully compensate for inferior quality hardware. Hardware is very important. Um, you know, if I change the software on my computer, maybe it'll make it a little faster, maybe it'll make it a bit more capable, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to what the processor is able to handle. So you can't go past a certain point before you need to upgrade the hardware. And phone companies have been doing that, but there's definitely some size limitations here, which has a lot more of an impact than you might think. So I'll see you next time. I'm gonna shut up now and let you all go on with your lives. Take care of yourselves.